Good morning and welcome to my second video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to do some stamping of vintage leaves with Versamark ink and then gold embossed, and then using some sponge daubers to do some emboss resisting. I chose to do this video because this technique is featured in both my project and my card for the One Stamp at a Time blog hop this month. So let's get started. So I am using this Vintage Leaves stamp set. Absolutely love it. It's in the annual catalog for Stampin' Up. Then, in order to not have any fussy cutting, this has framelits that are coordinating. You'll see there's a few of them there. I've already got a few set out that I'm going to use. So, for today's video, I'm going to use this bigger leaf and then this smaller one just to give you an idea of a couple different sizes. So, first thing we do, I've got Very Vanilla, and then I've got it on a piercing mats or foam pad or notebook or anything to simulate the foam that you need, because our photopolymer stamps don't have that foam. So I've got my Versamark ink here, and I'm gonna get it all inked up. Then I am going to place it right here in the corner. And you can just ever so slightly see it there. We're going to do the same thing with the smaller leaf. I'm doing two just to show you some of the different coloring that we're going to do later with the sponge daubers. And I'm going to put it down here. So the thing that you have to be careful of is to make sure, since you can't see it very well, that they're not overlapping. And mine is going to be awfully close. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do another small one just to be safe. There. That's better. So you're done with the inking. You're done with the stamps. And then the next thing we need to do is get out our embossing. So I'm going to use gold embossing. If you notice, mine's not in one of those little containers. It is in just a plastic container, and then I've labeled it. That's what I find is easiest for me for my embossing. So I am going to move the foam pad out of the way, put a little bit of scratch paper underneath it because I tend to get crazy with my embossing. Get my embossing powder out. I've got a plastic spoon, and I'm going to bring this over here. So we need to get lots of embossing powder here. You can start to see where they are. There's the two little ones. And the bigger ones. You want to get all that little excess off. Look at those. Aren't those just absolutely beautiful? I love the detail in this stamp set that comes out when you're embossing. So, getting the gold off of my hands. And we are all done with that. Gonna set that aside. get rid of my scratch paper. And now it's time to do the actual heat embossing. So I'm going to grab my heat tool. Through the magic of television, we are all embossed. Quite honestly, I could just leave the leaves like this, but since this is going to be fall themed, we have to make them look like they belong on a tree in the fall. So the next thing that we're going to do is use the matching framelets to cut out our pieces. So I'm going to take this over to my other table and use my Big Shot, my cutting plates, and my magnetic platform, and I'll be right back. So I am back, and I've got the small leaf and the large leaf that I've cut out with the framelets. So we are all done with the framelets. Now here comes the fun part. We've got to throw some ink on them. So when I was thinking about fall colors, I think there's a lot of yellows, so I've got crushed curry. Orange, so I'm going to use a Cajun Craze. And then in the reds, so I've got Cherry Cobbler. These can all be found in Stampin' Up's Regal color collection. So I'm going to open all these up. Crushed curry. Cajun Craze. And your Cherry Cobbler. So let's start with the small one. As you can see, I've been doing some of this sponge daubering on some others. So I'm going to get a little bit of yellow, and I'm just going to sponge it on. So this one I'm going to do yellow and orange. So I'm just going to add some orange accents. So you can see all the color on it. So I'm just going to take a tissue and very carefully wipe off the ink from the embossing powder so the gold stands out even more. Isn't that just beautiful? So then for this big one, I think I am going to start with a little bit of Cajun Craze. You could do this with regular sponges too. I just found it easier in this instance with these smaller pieces to do with the sponge daubers. And if you notice, all of my sponge daubers are marked with what color they are. Getting some more color in there. I'm pleased with the amount of orange on it. Then we're going to get some Cherry Cobbler here. I'm going to get quite a bit of that red, so ink it up pretty heavy. And use it to add. All the leaves that I've done have all been different, just as in nature, all the leaves that you find on trees look just ever so different when they're changing colors in the fall. So you can see, this is something you get very messy on, but it's a lot of fun. So I've done the wiping away. I'm going to add, I think, just a little bit more color on the edge there with the Cajun Craze. And there you go. So that is the big leaf and the small leaf. So today we've learned about the leaflets and the vintage leaves stamp set the Stampin' Up offers. And then we've also learned how to emboss and then sponge, and then using the Kleenex to do an emboss resist. And that just means where you've embossed the surface and then you put ink on it, and then with the tissue we wiped away the ink off the embossing. So I hope you enjoyed this demonstration for the leaves that I've used for both my project and my card. Thank you, and have a blessed day.